Congressman Bob Good here with your weekly good news from Washington when I am in D.C. And of course, I'm back after spending a few weeks in our district during the August work period back in the district. Traveled to as many of our 24 cities and counties as I could and saw many constituents of the 5th District. But back here in Washington, the main issue, of course, is the spending battle, the annual appropriations process, where I am trying to drive that process to do what the Speaker committed to do back in January and that virtually all Republicans voted for in April, which was to go back to pre-COVID level spending for what is non-defense discretionary spending. And that's what we committed to do together as a conference, Republican conference, and I'm trying to exhort and encourage and persuade our Speaker to hold to that and to pass spending bills that do cut our spending and implement the Republican priorities and policy objectives that you elected us to implement when you gave us the majority the American people did back in November. I hosted what's called a special order to that effect on the House floor last night, as a matter of fact, where I was joined by my colleague Ralph Norman from South Carolina and Clay Higgins from Louisiana, and we just took time on the floor to talk about the national debt and the deficit that we're projected to run this year of over $2 trillion and just how the spending is literally bankrupting our future. This week I also sent a letter to the Department of Justice exhorting Merrick Garland to take action regarding the exploitation of children through artificial intelligence, or AI, which is being increasingly used to generate child sex abuse materials, and asking the Attorney General what is he going to do about that to protect our nation's children. I chaired a HELP committee, subcommittee hearing this week, the Health, Employment, Labor, and Pensions Committee that I do chair. And what we did was to have a hearing on the impact of the border invasion on the American worker, on the American workforce, on the impact that it's having with respect to American jobs and wages. Also this week in a markup in the Education Workforce Committee, we did pass my bill, No Discrimination in Benefits Act, which would require pension fund managers to focus strictly on their hiring on those who have the expertise and the skill and the experience to deliver the best possible return for the beneficiaries, and not to focus on Biden's policies of diversity, equity, and inclusion when they're hiring fund managers. And that's because we want to have the beneficiaries or the employees' best interests in mind. The final thing that I'll just share is also in our Education Workforce Committee, we passed a bill that would fight back against the Biden administration's continued attack on our Second Amendment rights. And specifically here, we're trying to fight for teachers and school personnel who want to be trained and equipped to defend their students and themselves in the workplace, in the schools, to be able to do that without the federal government preventing that. To let states and localities have their own policies as it applies to defensive mechanisms within their schools. So thank you so much for the privilege of representing you in Washington.